crazy.
You're too lucky.
Yesterday, fuming. Yesterday, I was fuming. I can't even hold you and tell you that I wasn't. I was mad. But today, calm down a little bit, as you do. New day, fresh energy, all that good stuff, all that jazz. A couple of days after the manager's spoken and stuff, it's done another interview. Keeping it true, but the club's basically said they're backing Amarim, which I expect. Don't want him to get rid of the guy. That's crazy, But then there's still stuff going on. It seems like there's a few things happening. It feels like there's a silent power struggle at United. You're hearing about one of the original Glazers talking about, yeah, I'm really involved. And Sir Jim's really jostling for position as well. Sir Jim wants to sell his club. What's going on? Who's going to be running things? Like what's the plan going forward? I think a lot of people, there's going to be more protests as well coming up. And then there's people's eyes and attention have turned to where they should be turning. Ineos as well. They guys are coming. They're running things right now. And in their time of overseeing things, we are not in our best situation. I get, obviously, the manager has to play his part in terms of, well, I'm in this position that I'm in. But Ineos, we can't forget, like, if we're really breaking this thing down as well, how do you miss out Ineos? They was the one that did the strategic review, spent money that we don't really have on a manager that they didn't really like and want, only to bring a manager that plays a totally different football style and everything. They should have done it earlier. Then you won't be in this situation. Some people are saying though, and you might be able to, you can hear those people that we're not relegated because of Ten Hag's wins. Hard to fight that, but then you say to yourself, well, if Amarim brings in the players that he bought in, you could never know. You'll never know the answer to that one. If Amarim had pre-season and bought in the players that he wanted to bring in, it could be totally different. Again, there's been the way we've operated, and Ineos now have the job of their lives. Them coming out saying we're backing the manager, well, or like, we're standing by him, this, that, and the other. Well, you've got no choice. You don't have a choice in terms of we're going to back the manager, we're going to stand with him. Bro, he's here because of you. He didn't want to be here. The reason why you didn't go for him the first time is because you knew you'd have to overhaul the squad and stuff. None of those things changed. You knew how he sounded in interview. It's like, I always say it like this. It's like booking, imagine me booking Patrice O'Neill for a comedy, a gospel comedy event. R.I.P. Patrice O'Neill. But you got mad. Or like, I don't know, Paul Moody doing like a school thing at a school. It's gonna do a mad thing. You understand what you got. You know what you see what the person is. They're telling you, this is me. This is my management style. You ask those questions. You have to ask those questions. How are you going to deal with the playing squad that's here? I'm going to play my way. What else are you going to do? I'm going to play my way. You knew everything about him, yet you still, with all the I'm not even calling them scholars, all the people above, sporting director, this, that, and the other, they could see this. It's probably why when you talk about the Dan Ashworths of this world and that whole breakdown, of relationship, Dan Ashworth gets the job and quickly it all goes to shit. But then people seeing eye to eye and understanding is what's the best decision for the club. We're, again, Ineos, we do this thing as football fans where we quickly try to deal with almost, let's say it's a cut and we're trying to deal with that cut, but there's something deeper going on. There's something, you stem the flow of the bleeding, but the cut's going to open up again. And that's how I feel about the manager. All right, cool. You've dealt with that a little bit. Like it's not bleeding, it's not gushing out anymore. But the problems still remain. There's something serious going on at this club with the amount of like we can't be here again saying another manager failing, another manager. It's deeper than that. It has to be. There is fundamentally something wrong with Manchester United as a everything, literally. And I can't tell you what that thing is. Obviously, you want to say, I believe, well, I do know what it is. It's the way we've invested and the lack of investment at times. So, like, the fact of when you look at the quality, well, why does the quality look like that? Why that after this much spent, why do we have those types of players? Those are some of the issues. Now we can go again and say these players are better than they are. But how many times we said that? When is it not true? Like they are not that good. Or they can't do they while they have talent, they're not consistent. When do we get into that bag? When do we start talking like that? You know? I understand that it's mad, like that he doesn't get a blind. Don't get him wrong. This is not me now saying um Amrim's done no wrong in this. I do believe that Amrim is he's had his errors in this journey for sure. Amrim is um sometimes selection's not been good enough. Sometimes, even though there's not a lot to select, but you have to win these games. I think the whole it's not that him. I think sometimes trying Cheeto a bit sooner could have worked. Maybe bringing in a different type of youngster. You know what I mean? There's stuff that he could have tried. The stuff he could have tried. I support the Rashford move. I think that was the right thing to do. I support the Anthony move, and if Barcelona or one of Atletico or anyone else comes in for him, you lot done a good job there. Literally, like it was short term pain for long term success with those two players. Hopefully, you hope that both of those two end up at big clubs or good clubs where we don't have to pay the wages. That's what you're hoping for. Literally, that's why it's all like we're gonna learn a lot about ourselves as soon as the window closes. I mean, sorry, as soon as the season's over. So we'll know where this club is going Thursday. Not this week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday, after the cup's been decided. Right? We'll learn about ourselves.